Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Sucky Economy, strategies for finding a job, how to find a job in this current environment. Yeah, it's sucky, so I'm not going to be bringing you good news today. Okay, so thank you to our sponsors, this place, Texas McCombs School of Business, Blog Rocket, and Pragmatic Institute. So your patronage is welcome. Go start an MBA and do Pragmatic, and love doing analytics. Okay, and so this is me. You might want to take a picture of this if you want to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk to people. So I'm Stephan, I guess, not Rocky. And I run two companies. One is called Talent Agent. I just started this summer, which is a reverse recruiting company for people in high tech, including product people. And Product Hires has been around since 2017. And it's a career site for product managers, product design, data science, people who work on product who are not engineers. And you can take a look at that stuff. Like I said, take a picture. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So what are we going to be covering? Essentially, we're going to be 20 minutes. I want to save you as much time as possible for Q&A. That's actually going to be more useful, probably. So it's not a lot. Let's move fast. Current market data. Your career is like a project. The course study to your next role. Finding the right job and applying. Advanced advice, which is really what you want to hear. And then Q&A. So what's the current market data? Get ready to cry. Guys, it's bad. So the average time for an individual contributor engineer to find a job is right now 6 to 8 months. Average time for an engineering manager is 8 to 10 months. So it happens, an IC product person is the same thing. And if you're in a management level product, yeah, sorry, go do Lyft. 2019 data, this is what I collected from Product Hire. So I was tracking data back then. Is cold reply response rates about 5%. So if you're applying to a job, just hit apply and throw it in the form. You don't know the people, you just apply. It's about 5%. This is 2019. And referrals, so if you actually reach out to someone or someone you know, you're likely at 70% rate to actually hear from a recruiter or something. And welcome to today. Today. And I put less than 0.5% for a cold apply. It's actually probably less than that. It's bad. Like, our data breaks. But it's definitely less than that. We have data where people actually built bots to apply to 8,000 jobs. They got 5 interviews. By the way. It was really sad. That was not us, by the way. The average referral apply rate, and again, that's getting to a human through a referral, is now about 20%. So referrals still are better than click, apply. So please don't do that. More stats, 60 to 70% of jobs are not posted. This is not my number, because how would I know? But this is what I'm told. 85% of jobs are filled through some form of referral. So again, yay, referrals. 30% of LinkedIn connections request and accept. So if you're trying to build a network virtually, 30% are going to say yes, 50% of those will actually reply to you, and 30% of those will actually talk to you, which should be your goal. Many known companies have about 5,000 to 10,000 applications per job. So that's who you're fighting against. 10,000 people. Yeah, bad news. A survey of recruiters says they do not expect the job market to get better this year. Yeah, it's actually might get worse. So, who's happy? Okay, so I'm just quoting myself here. The market sucks, so you have to be smarter, diligent, and work consistently to find a job. Why not? Quote myself. I like my quotes better. Okay, so we're going to go over the basics here, guys. Your career is like a product. Think like a product leader. Look at your career like a product. I mean, you should already be doing this. This is not like, I don't have to go on these slides too long. If anybody wants to email me for the slides, but basically, yeah, do this stuff. At the end, especially create a brand, right? That's what you need to do, is you need to create a brand. And so your messaging on LinkedIn and all this stuff, I mean, just like you build products, build a brand. The message must be clear. You must be user-friendly in the right way. Be proactive and not reactive. So, control your career. Don't just like let it happen. Like, guys, you gotta do this. Like, you gotta control it. You need to set a vision and, figure out where you want to be. Now, today, that doesn't help today, sorry. But this is generally stuff you should be thinking about. And the reason I'm telling you this, because I'm going to contradict myself at the end. I'm going to tell you, don't be picky, pick whatever you can get. But right now, have the vision, kind of know where you want to go. And if you have to deviate, you're going to deviate, but know where you want to go and actively seek others for help and so on and so forth. Again, you can get these slides. I'm going to go fast through this. Make visible impact. Again, I love the thing, a tree that falls in the forest makes no noise. If you're making impact and you have no evidence or no one knows about it or you don't like pat your own back and show people, that doesn't make you a narcissist, though you could be, so just be careful. But, people, you need to do this. And don't do it when you leave the job, like you got laid off and like, oh, I need to like collect all that data. Too late. Collect the data as you do stuff, right? And I make this a discipline of my life. I celebrate wins, I collect data along the way, I create my own case studies, and, when I need it, I have it. So be sure to do that. So, before you're submitting to your next role, and again, I'm going through this all fast. This is all common sense stuff. Get recommendations. Actually talk to the people who are working for you, or with you, I should say, who pretend they still like you, right? So, recommendations, of course, build your network, work on your resume, get mentorship. You guys should all have mentors. Seriously, like this is one of the biggest things in my life, like I stress. Have a mentor, be a mentor. Do both. Build a brand and start building accountability for your search. Recommendations, so just really quick, be generous. Always, don't expect people to just give you a recommendation. Give recommendations. Guys, you have teams. Love your teams. Reward them. Like people actually, money's important, but people actually value being valued more than money. Actually, believe it or not. Now, of course, if you're paid too low, you might actually want money. But the truth is, people actually want to be valued and know they're making an impact. So give that to them. And then when you want a recommendation, actually make it easy for people. Write it up, say all the impact you've made with that particular person, put it out in bullet points, send it to them and say, hey, you could use this or you could do whatever. They will almost always remove the bullets and just use what you sent them. So it's great because they hardly remember anything. Resume, we're going to like whole sections on these, but today, do not use ChatGPT on anything you do, please, or any AI. It is garbage, and the ATSs are now looking for AI-written stuff. And they will throw you in a trash bin. Okay? So, that's a new bullet point I put there. Otherwise, all this stuff is pretty much the same old, same old, same old. Everybody thinks they know what a good resume is, and everybody thinks yours isn't. It's not hard. We'll talk about that another time if you want. You can email me. Network. Every city is different, but networking is always, key. So go to product meetups. Oh, product camps. Okay, you're smart. And get beachhead networks into the companies you want. So be building the networks now that you'll need to use later. And of course, there's tons of different places online. I mean, COVID did us a favor, I guess. Mentorship. Everybody needs a mentor. To show you the path and caution on missteps. And so basically have multiple mentors based on what you need to learn. I recommend meeting them monthly or more than monthly, and every week, do it. And it's basically a social contract, listen and do, and basically you're working together to understand and create a mutually beneficial relationship. So, but you should have a mentor, and you should be mentored someone as well. Okay, let's get to the meat here. Finding jobs. Again, this is not rocket science. Networking is best. Most jobs are unpublished. I've already said that, but it's actually generally always true. There's product boards, product tired. I own that. And then Mind the Product. And there's a few others, but these, go to niche boards. But honestly, LinkedIn is going to have the vast majority of them right now. And of course, ask around the community. This is why you need a network, because if you don't have a network, use your community, right? Okay, applying. Use your network. There's a theme here, guys. Yeah. Use your network. Seriously, use your network. Okay? And when you run out of network, guess what? Build more network. You know, it's kind of like building railroad tracks. You're like building it as the train's coming down the road, right? So you got to do that. Referrals are always best, unless you suck. You can't get any, but hopefully you don't suck. Use third-party recruiters. So this is when you start figuring out, okay, third-party recruiters, they have particular roles that they're trying to fulfill for other companies. Know the recruiters in your city or outside of your city, because you know, we do a lot of remote now, though it's kind of flipping. But figure out who the third-party recruiters are, because they just want to fill the job. And if it's you, great. Yes.
So, how do you know if it's an ATS? So is that just if it's a cold application, then you usually assume an ATS?
So an ATS is basically, it's an applicant tracking system. It's basically a piece of software form. There's like 150 different ATSs out there. Mm-hmm. Some are pretty simple. Some are morbidly complex and try to kill you through the UX. You know, and some are really, like, on the back end, some are quite simple. Like, they don't do any filtering or anything. It's just, these are the applications that came in, and this is the time they came in. A recruiter comes in and says, yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, no. They send it on to the hiring manager or whoever's checking it out. Some actually do filters. They're starting to dabble in AI, but I will tell you, the vast majority of ATSs do not do that. The vast majority of ATS don't even filter. The vast majority, first come, first serve. Okay? And I'm actually trying to figure out a list. This is one of my tasks right now, is to figure out a list of ATSs that do filter, where you have to worry more on keywords, right? And the ones that don't filter, where you just like, let's not stress, let's put a human, because you know, you have your keyword-oriented resume, and then you have your, people can actually read this resume, right? And you need to know the difference to give to people, or machines. So, and then of course apply on a website as a last resort. I'm telling you, it's really horrible results. Some people do get lucky. If you're one of the lucky ones, go buy a lottery ticket, please. Advanced advice. Okay, so this is my learnings, pretty quick. Guys, do not leave your job before you find another. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care how much trauma you're going through, unless you have a good lawsuit and make some money that way. But like, you're not going to find another one easily. Okay? I'm just being honest. Do not use AI bots to apply for jobs. You'll see all these, by the way, I almost built one. My company talent agent, that was the first thing we were going to build. And we realized it's a horrible idea. Do not use AI bots to apply for jobs. They will apply to hundreds or thousands of jobs for you, of which they're all horrible. And even if they're reasonably okay, now the ATS is, I mean, come on, you can tell when ChatGPT wrote something. Like, we know. Like, we're like, that's not a human. At least I can. Or can I? Please do not just click, apply. Spend that time doing something better. You're going to raise your hands.
No, I was just when you said, do not, if you need a job, don't be picky. I didn't know what that
Yeah, do not in front of all these things.
Right.
Right. So, if you need a job, don't be picky. Oh, do not, okay, yeah, that's wrong.
I didn't know if it was a double, so you're saying actually be picky.
Yeah, if you need a job.
No, like, whatever.
Do you mean like don't wait for...
I literally added this morning, I have 1 hour and 20 minutes of sleep. So, there's the evidence. Okay, so, don't be picky. That's what I'm saying. So, let's move that to the next slide I'm going to do. So do know your runway and invest in things that accelerate finding a job. Okay, guys, if you're laid off, how many are going to admit they're laid off here? Yeah, a lot of us. I mean, my hand's actually up. I was laid off in June. Coincidentally, after I started Talent Agent. And I'm like, oh, I'm a client. That was fun. First guinea pig, second guinea pig, actually. And so, you know, you're going to run out of money. These timelines I showed you at the very beginning, for people at management level, which I'm one of them, it's a year plus. If you're average, right? You might not, not average, like you're superb product. No, it's just like, some people do get it earlier, and some people decide to get it later. And again, the reason I say plus is because we don't know the data. Because it's been about a year, almost a year and a half since this market's been like trash. There's some people unemployed. So think about that. Customize cover letters, messages to people. Customize them. Or at least if you use templates, make the templates customizable. Right? Don't just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Like, be a human. Don't be AI. Okay? Do use tools. So there's a lot of tools we use that we've been using over the past year in my company. Magical, but basically all it is like you fill in all your common information. It's like a form filler, and you just click, 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 click. Now that's not going to fill in the question. You actually, as a human, have to answer these questions that they're going to ask you, but it's going to fill in a lot of the common stuff, right? And that's perfectly fine. Like, what's your name? I mean, how custom can you get on that? So that's fine. Use things like that. Make your process streamlined. If you need a job, broaden your search. Like, you got to be broad. Like before, I would tell you, focus. Know what you really want to be. Know your strategic ability. Now I'm like, find whatever the hell you can, right? Look at contracting roles, fractional roles. So there's another talk about fractional. I highly recommend them. I've talked to a lot of them, but even they're having troubles. Contracting as well. And then reach out to many people at the company you're applying to. So like if you're looking at a company, reach out to 5 or 7 people at that company. Tell them you're interested in talking. Like I said, those numbers, 30% will respond, and eventually you'll get someone to talk to you, give you a referral. Coincidentally, I got an interview, and they're like, wow, we're amazed. 5 people recommended you. And I'm like, huh. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I can hold. That's good.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then remove the fear of reaching out to strangers online. Contact them anyway. So for our clients, one of the biggest fear is they're uncomfortable just reaching out to strangers. And they're uncomfortable for us reaching out to strangers for them. And get over it. Get over it. Like, you got to sell yourself, and you got to do cold sales. And that means you need to reach out to people, start building up warm relationships, and get it done. Okay, do use LinkedIn Premium. It's going to give you more messages. You might even consider Sales Navigator to identify the people you need to talk to. This costs money, and that's why I said you need to know your runway so you know what can invest. And so if you're like, oh, I need to save money because I'm going to run out in 6 months, well, you need to make the very hard decision on maybe you need to spend money so you don't run out in 6 months. Again, that's your decision. You need to think through that because it's not an easy one. Have a peer group, friends, and outside support in your job search. So get as much help as you can. Hire people, resume write, whatever you need to do. I'm not saying resume write, but just do what you need to do. Yes.
What sales?
Oops, sorry.
Go ahead. What Sales Navigator?
Sales Navigator is what salespeople do to find leads. And, it's just, you're looking for leads. You're looking for people inside of companies and looking for hiring managers and whatnot.
So is it a LinkedIn product?
It's a LinkedIn product, yes.
So, do you recommend on LinkedIn when they have the open to work tag? Because I've heard things both
Open
ways.
for work, you can ask me that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, focus on finding a job, then interviews. Before I would say, focus on your interviews. You gotta practice. Dude, you're lucky if you get an interview. Like, honestly. It's very hard. And so I've now told people, like, focus on looking for a job. If you get an interview, obviously I hope you're still practicing some. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. But, don't assume interviews are coming easily. Remain busy. Okay, this is really important. Start a side hustle, study AI, just keep learning and growing. Suffer reason. You're going to be gone. You may be a long time without a job. People are going to be asking, what did you do? People are going to ask, they're going to be asking, what did you do? But also, the number one reason I see people fail at this is because they're depressed. They start looking for a job within a few weeks, they're depressed, they look less. This is why my company exists, because we've got a lot of depressed people. In fact, we have people who are coaching, trying to get people out of depression. in my company. Because it doesn't matter if we can get you an interview, if you're depressed, you're going to bomb it. Because, yeah, depressed people stop looking and also bomb interviews. Read the book. So don't get depressed. If you are depressed, get out of it. That's my great counseling advice. So, I wanted to leave you as much time as possible. You got about 10 minutes. Perfect. Q&A. Okay, we'll start with you because you...
Okay, the open for work tag.
Good question. I don't know.
Okay.
We've tried both. We've thought about both. We've asked a lot of people about both. The question is, do you look too desperate? The question is, are you desperate? The answer is yes, right? I recommend, yes, you show it, at least if LinkedIn allows you to just show it to recruiters. Definitely just show it to recruiters. If you want to make it open wider, you can do that. You know, I've talked to a lot of recruiters who say, like, we don't care if you're laid off. We're just looking for the right people. And then I've had other people say, like, I only hire people who are in a job.
Yeah.
I hear both. And so the answer is, like, you know, people should know you're looking for a job. So I wouldn't be stressed about it. I would just do it. Right? Next question. Yes.
So I feel a lot of people are getting a lot more on LinkedIn now, but then it gets so busy. So how do you stand out? You know,
How do you stand out?
yeah, because there's so much content on LinkedIn. Like,
So, a few stats I've heard recently. Again, it's about LinkedIn has an algorithm, just like Facebook and everything else. And so commenting, liking actually does raise your voice in LinkedIn. You get to see more. Creating posts, of course, helps, but actually I heard commenting actually does more. And so, not that you shouldn't create posts, you should. You should become a brand, you should create your brand, right? But definitely be commenting and all that stuff. And so how do you get past the noise? Well, make more noise. Like no, seriously, like if people like you comment once a week, who's gonna see that? You know, maybe some. But if you're like every day commenting, right? That's great. I mean, I have a staff who does all like, shh. Like, I don't post anything on LinkedIn. It's my staff right now, right? And so, like, sometimes I look at my LinkedIn and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, oh, okay, let me delete that, delete that. And I'm getting messages all the time from people like, oh, thank you, Mark. I'm like, for what? Then I'm like, oh, I made a comment. That's nice. So, anyways, it's funny. Just jumping in the far back.
You had said to not apply at random, but to broaden your search, and I feel like those are...
So when I say broaden your search, you know, definitely consider different types of roles, different industries, right? So this is the problem, to touch on that. This is the hard thing. Because we're getting, let's say, 10,000 applications per role, and that's on like certain companies. Companies are now, like, so I'm a product generalist. Means I've done many industries and I leverage things and I think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? However, companies are now like, you need to be in this, and you need to be in this in years, and you need to know these nuanced technologies. It's like a unicorn role. You might be able to actually find it when 10,000 people apply, right? And so I'm really fearful, actually, you know, this is a lovely topic for another time, is the generalist product manager going away. That would be a very sad thing. It's actually, I believe, bad for product. That's my humble opinion. What do you think? No. So what I would say is start opening up what you're looking for, different industries, you know, different roles. So, you know, what, not just product management, because the goal is right now to get jobs so you don't like live under a bridge. And so you might look into like a strategic advisor for VC firms. Like think about like product management roles, how they apply to other roles. You know, you can do that. Like, or contract or whatever. Like think strategically.
And then you have to rewrite your resume to suit that.
Yeah, of course. You have to customize everything for that.
So a lot of your stats were around, is basically built around the assumption that you have some product experience, right?
Okay, so you don't have product experience.
Yeah, so what about folks that are in school trying to switch right now?
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Maybe start off with
Okay,
that.
well, unfortunately, I can only give you one. It's bad news. Like, essentially, at Talent Agent, my company, we don't accept any university hires right now, or anyone who has no experience in what they're looking for. And it's simply because we don't want to take their money, right? Like, we try to be ethical. And like, yeah, our chance of finding you something is so small. Like, we'd be basically abusing you. Like, just taking money, feeding you up like a lollipop from a baby. And we don't do that. And so, look, is it possible? Of course it's possible. Things can happen. Rainbows happen, right? But it's very hard. And you're going to have to find the right company that's looking for the right person. You need to figure out what you're bringing in that's leveraged in the very right specific way. And so you don't have all that product knowledge to leverage. You have your previous experience to leverage. And so you're going to need to find a transitionary role for that. It's not easy.
Quick follow-up, is it easier to just get your foot in a company with your previous experience and then maybe once the market gets better, switch? Is that better advice?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend find a job. A job. Right? Like a job. I mean, if you don't have a job, find a job so you don't like starve or whatever. And, seriously, like there's a problem out there. And like everybody else is like, economy's great. Have you looked at tech? It's bad. So, yeah, yes.
Since we're talking about broadening the search, so I'm in a similar boat, graduating from the MBA program now in a month. So initially my approach was very target focused at a particular role, and but then eventually I broadened my search. But the problem that I'm facing is I have an image now that's created with the LinkedIn. Now everyone is going to search my name, and then there's an image which is created. Now if I'm applying for multiple roles, then it becomes tricky because now they're searching on LinkedIn, I have a different image necessarily. And second, preparing for every role is different, and that's again becoming a struggle. I'll just...
How do you do it?
Like,
what do you suggest? Yeah.
On your LinkedIn, smush them all together. I know it's mixed messaging, right? Or pick one that you really want to favor. I mean, it's just limitations of what it is, right? And so, there's no secret magic to it. It's just, just push it all together, hope the message doesn't get lost for each one, or pick one and stick with it, and, hopefully your resume will speak to the others. So it's a tough one. Yes.
So you actually charge for services? Like, what do you do with the placement fees? Don't you get paid by the placement fees for placing the candidates? Like, why do you also charge the candidates?
Yes, we charge. We charge a lot because we use humans who eat. So that's a problem. And also, we don't get paid by companies because you're our client, not companies.
But companies, they always pay placement fees for like recruiters.
Well, please send me those companies. I would love to know them because they don't. Because we're not a recruiter. We work for you. Okay? We don't have a contract with companies. You have to have a contract with those companies. And we don't go that route, at least currently. We have a contract with you to find you. Now, sometimes we do contracts where we, I don't get into my company, but a percent of the salary if we find a job, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, you're our client. We're faithful to you. We're not beholden to any company, which means we can give you trustworthy advice about all companies. So, yes.
What do you think about, this might be a little weird, but what do you think about the idea of like hitting up a professional friend to be an intern so you can get some experience, put it on the resume, even if they don't pay you a dime?
If you can do it. If you can do it.
I mean, do you think that's like...
If you're going to spend 8 months doing nothing, do it.
Like if they're like, yeah, sure, you can come sit next to me.
Yeah, as long as they're able to write something up and it looks somewhat, like not your friend, but...
in exchange for the ability to put that on your resume. Yeah. That's not weird?
No,
I mean,
not weird. I have someone that pitched that to me.
You know how many friends of mine
like,
I've hired as interns?
But like what about like corporate concerns about, they're not an employee, they can't do this.
No, we wouldn't start them up as an employee. I would not
And they
just
get
have
like a-
someone show up and sit next to me as a friend, like,
So you have to talk someone into paying you to be an employee?
there's different types of contracts you can have. I've had interns that I didn't pay.
All right, maybe I can talk to you later.
Sorry, I know.
The next.
No, thanks, yeah, I don't want to.
And startups are way more likely.
Right now, I'm getting multiple.
Like free help from smart people?
Messages of people
Okay.
that want to just keep their skill sets going, so they're saying, we'll work for you for 6 months if you'll just let us work on it. Keep your
Yeah.
skill sets, because you gotta keep your skills.
You gotta keep your skill sets. No, I'd rather build something of my own using my skill sets, because then, hey, if it turns out great, wonderful, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just going to ask, are you seeing any trends and differences with like people getting jobs in startups right now versus more like
So bigger companies, not as easy, they're cutting, they're laying off. Startups, it's always been hard to start because there's fewer of them, but yet, they tend to be more likely to take risks, startups. So, check out startups, plus less people are applying to startups, like small unknown companies, definitely. Yes?
Can you say something more about that large number of jobs that don't get posted publicly?
Yeah, I know. It's a big mystery box, isn't it? I've been trying to figure it out myself. So there's a lot of reasons. A lot of internal people that are trying to internally hire. They're not posted yet. They're always on the verge of being posted. It's not been approved, or maybe it's just been approved. I think that's where that kind of falls in. So definitely reach out to networks. Even if you don't see a job on the website, reach out.
One source is if there's VC companies, they with jobs that's related to companies that fall under the portfolio.
Yeah.
So that's one avenue if you know.
VC network?
VCs tend to have that, yes.
I was just going to comment on that. They just call it the hidden job market, and it comes through your network. It comes through relationships. I mean, I interviewed for a company one time where I was an external candidate that interviewed for a job that had never been posted because I knew someone, and we were just talking about what's your company doing, what's your business. We need this kind of opportunity. We're going to be hiring my backfill. They were leaving to go back to school.
Yeah, backfills.
And move to Europe. And so it was a really unique situation with somebody here at Product Camp, and I ended up getting an interview for a job that was never posted as an external candidate. But you aren't going to find those unless you.
So how do you operationalize that?
But it's through you have to network. You have to build relationships. After today, follow up with people you meet today, find out what's going on in their business, in their world, and who they know, and who else you should meet. Get a couple more people to follow up with that.
We're over, so you have to go, you can go, but I'm going to answer a couple more. Yes?
So you've written share PDFs to people and Word to ATS. Did you see something that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't tested that yet. I mean, that was from Bullet Point from a couple weeks ago when I gave this presentation.
Okay.
PDFs, people, Word, ATS tend to work a little bit better with it.
Okay.
I don't know if I've seen any evidence either way recently.
Right. Quick two inputs that I wanted to share, and this is like from around 2 years back, especially with that point of your LinkedIn profile, whether it's getting more visible or not.
Mm-hmm.
I had found out that, so each of your experiences, you put a block, right? Just below that, give a gap, and if you're putting in the keywords separated with a pipe, I personally did see a huge bump in a search in the searches keywords for that particular area what you have worked.
Oh, I did that online.
And I did that experiment, and I really did see a bump up in the searches, and I started coming in. That's
Check out my LinkedIn. I think it's a good example. And I have keywords for each role. Now, LinkedIn tends to rank you higher the number of times that keyword that they list as important is listed. So don't just use it once, use it every time that it's applicable.
And at that point of time, I tried a hyphen with a pipe. Pipe worked better than a hyphen.
Interesting.
So that I don't know, things may have changed, but this was 2 years back. And the second thing was angellist.com or angel.co. That's the place where I found that, jobs not visible at other places.
Yeah.
This ties with that VC point that I think somebody was raising. So.
And VCs also have their own list. You go to their VC websites, it might have a jobs list. So
that's
check that out.
Just one last thing. So years ago I used JobScan But something that I just did recently was had my resume, I wrote it up so it's current, and then I put it into ChatGPT with the job description, and it said, hey, you might want to add these words.
Yeah.
So I use it like a free version of JobScan.
Yeah, I mean,
JobScan.
ChatGPT, I use ChatGPT a lot. I do not use it to create things.
Yeah, no, not to create.
That are specifically looking to see if you create, use ChatGPT.
Yes.
But I like JobScan, right? I'm a fan of JobScan. I use it. Our clients use it. There's a lot of tools out there that do the similar thing. ChatGPT probably do a little bit of the similar thing. Again, what's trained, what's not, I mean, it's up to you. Yeah. So, yes.
Resume formatting, I saw you had a couple of different formats.
Yeah, email me. I have opinions on that. But simple. Keep it simple, not fancy. Just simple text, black and white.
I just have a recommendation. Mark's presentation on how to use a whiteboard during interviewing is great. It's classic.
Should be online somewhere.
What was that?
I have a whiteboarding, how to do a whiteboarding interview, but please find and get an interview first, and you might find it out. So.
But even if you're not whiteboarding, there's things in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in there. Yeah, I'm an interview coach for like 7 years.
I'm sorry, I just need to give a correction. I think I was talking about Angel is .com. So Angel.co has become wellfound.com.
Yeah, it changed its name.
Wellfound.com. That's where startups and job seekers connect.
Yep. Okay, thank you to our sponsors again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't forget to ask for any time or email